So, so welcome to this special meeting, focusing really how to, make decisions around your team and around your business from a, financial point and possibly from a legal point. So I'd like to welcome Greg Rhines. He's our, from Wealth Builders. He's our resident PFU financial expert, and he's going to be shedding some light on his perspective around the strokes of the new stimulus package, and specifically the Payroll Protection Program. And then also like to welcome Walt. Walt Hampton. So Walt is not also an amazing coach, an amazing person, but Walt is also a former trial attorney. So he is currently an attorney. We'll give you hopefully some legal perspective if you need that, and also just provide some possible his just views on just mentally kind of understanding how to navigate through this storm. Also on the panel is John Best. John is our one of our certified practice freedom youth coaches, and John is also a former CPA as well as a former CFO of some pretty big companies. So yes, Walt, lawyers are people too, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. All right. So I think the best place to start is Greg. You've gotten lots of questions. We opened up tons of questions. You had a chance to review yesterday and this morning. We did send out your email to everyone, but I'm sure everyone has received also the review of what the stimulus package says. So I'm just going to turn it over to you, and then if you have questions, put them in the chat, but give Greg a chance to get the broad questions that I think everyone has. Greg, your show.
Okay. Well, I think the majority of the questions that I saw revolved around the two different loan programs that were out there, the EIDL as well as the PPP, if I can use the acronyms to keep things simple. The disaster loan recovery, the EIDL, that's the one that has some nice features about it. That's actually a program that's been around forever. The only thing that's a little new and different is that they've changed some of the application and eligibility rules. And for the first time, we have a health pandemic that is termed a disaster. So that's the part that's a little bit new. But anyway, with that program, that's a little bit more classic SBA program. You have to apply for it through the SBA itself. All kinds of paperwork to apply. And, they have much stricter standards as far as giving out the money. The max that they'll give out under that program is $2 million. The real nice feature, well, I should say two nice features about that program is that you can use that money if you do get that loan for really any kind of business expense. It's not limited like the PPP to just payroll, rent, utilities, and things of that nature, but you can use it for any kind of business expenses whatsoever. So that part is nice. But the other really cool feature is that allegedly within 3 days of making your application, they're going to give you a $10,000 grant that is totally forgiven. And that's whether or not they give you the loan or not. Even if they deny the loan, you still get to keep that $10,000 and you have no need to repay it. So I think that's really the nice thing about that one. Like I said, that one does have a whole lot more hoops, and it's a lot more time consuming to go through the loan application process. So that's that one. The PPP, the Payroll Protection Program, that's the one that's getting a lot more press. The nice features of that program are simply that, the hurdles to get that money much lower. Basically, you're saying I was in business on February 15th and I have payroll, or if you're self-employed, you also qualify. In that case, you don't necessarily have to have payroll. You can just be you. You're going to be going off of net profits. So that's a nice thing there. The loan payments are deferred for anywhere from 6 to 12 months. But the big feature that everyone is talking about on this one is, basically a lot of this can be free money. The design of this thing is so that your folks don't have to, your employees, that is, don't have to be applying for unemployment. You're able to keep them employed. And to the extent that you're keeping them employed and paying them funds, which is the whole idea behind this program, those funds can be forgiven. As far as the amount of the loan that you're eligible for, it's based upon your payroll. But as far as what you can use it for and the amount that it can be forgiven, it's based on a lot of other factors, like I mentioned before: rent, mortgage interest, or the loan interest that you have in utilities. So you can have all these expenses and have them forgiven. You make the application for forgiveness after June 30th. Even though, and I've read through every word of that bill, which took me basically all weekend, but nowhere in there does it say that that loan forgiveness is guaranteed. That always makes me a little wary anytime you're dealing with the government, but I have not heard from any source where there seems to be any concern about that. Seems to be pretty much a slam dunk that if you qualify for forgiveness, that you're keeping your folks employed, you will get that loan forgiveness. None of that is taxable income. So those are the two programs in a nutshell. There's a lot of other parts of the CARES Act, everything from expanded unemployment. A lot of other folks, they've been asking about sick leave coverage. That was part of one of the original stimulus packages that kicks in April 1 and goes all the way to December 31st, in which you would get a credit on your payroll taxes for anything that you're paying people under that program if they were impacted by COVID-19. And there's a whole list of ways that they can be covered. Let's see. There is also a payroll tax credit that's out there. A lot of these, by the way, can be impacted, however, by whether or not you're getting into the PPP program. If you are not eligible for the payroll tax credit. Payroll tax credit basically says you don't have to make your employer match of FICA for an extended period of time under this program. So that's a lot of the different features. I don't want to talk the whole way through this because that'll get really boring. I've mostly wanted to be here to answer any questions that folks had. But I think the answers that I'm going to be giving to your questions as far as what's best for me, they're so individualized that it's going to be difficult to say. You're really going to have to crunch through the numbers. I know I've had some of my clients reaching out saying, listen, I've already shut my doors, whether it was required to be shut or you just decided that you didn't have enough activity to keep the doors open, and how, can I be covered under the PPP? The answer to that is maybe, maybe not. A lot of that's going to depend upon whether or not you think you're going to get the doors back open, you're going to be able to employ these people. And even as far as that goes, there's going to be some strategic planning that's going to take place for the simple reason that the amount of loan forgiveness that you're eligible for is based upon your number of employees that you have employed at that date. You have an 8-week period of loan forgiveness from the date that your loan is approved. And from that point forward, you're looking at 8 weeks of expenses that can be recovered. So if you start this loan application right away, when your doors are closed and you have no employees, you're probably not going to get much loan forgiveness. Where if you delay this a little bit, make that loan application later when it's more likely that you're going to be getting your people back on staff and paying them, you may qualify for a lot more loan forgiveness. The risk that you run there is that there's been $349 billion allocated to this loan program, and everybody and their brother is lining up for, as Roland so aptly put it, free money. Don't know if there's going to be another stimulus package or another round of stimulus when they see how quickly this money goes. Very possible, but nothing's guaranteed. But those are the kind of questions you have to ask yourself, and those are the ones that it's going to be difficult for me to give a blanket answer, this is better or this is better. A lot's going to depend upon your situation and what your plans are.
Thank you, Greg. Appreciate that overview. Very helpful. I'd like to bring in Walt Well, I just want you to kind of comment on the mindset, the perspective, the thinking through some of this, the considerations. You and I have talked about this extensively over the last week, just to kind of talk just for a few minutes on that. And then, questions are coming in through the chat line, Greg, so you can kind of take a look at the questions and kind of get yourself prepared for some of those. So Walt, if you wouldn't mind. And of course, if you wouldn't mind unmuting yourself.
I love the way Greg framed it all, which was to say that so much of this needs individual attention, that circumstances vary. And I concur that individual circumstances will require very particular approaches to this. And I think the most important thing at this time is not to be in reactive mode, but to be in responsive mode. We tend, when we move too fast in situations like this, make precipitous decisions in circumstances like this, we tend to make mistakes. And so it's really important to be mindful and thoughtful and intentional, and to slow the action down. You know, you and I talk about this in business decisions, to slow the action down and to get that real clarity in terms of direction. So I think that's number one. Number two is we're in uncharted waters, and it's a very challenging time. And you can look at all sorts of projections, but the reality is we're going to come over a hump and out the other side. And there is daylight on the other side. We are going to get through it. My best research suggests we're going to see the other side of this within Q2. I mean, Q1 went badly off the rails in the middle of Q1. I suspect that we will begin to see daylight by the middle of Q2, which means that we need not only to be backing and filling the situation right now, but we actually need to be in an active planning mode in terms of going forward, to opening our doors again, by connecting with our people, by taking care of our patients. So I think it's very easy to get siloed in this moment, to go into fear, to go into scarcity, and not also be looking toward the daylight, toward the future.
Great. Thank you, Walt. Appreciate that. John, did you have any other just quick thoughts to add as Greg's handling the barrage of questions coming in? And then Greg, as you answer the questions, if there's anything that you just keep seeing, I'll just kind of turn it back to you after John says a few words, just to kind of expand on some of the stuff so you don't have to type paragraphs after paragraphs.
Sure. I think that, where we're at right now, like Walt said, uncharted waters. But I think that, on the personal side, we need to be kind to ourselves. We've got a lot of burden on ourselves right now, looking at our employees and taking responsibility for them and our businesses. And, during this time, however you want to do it, or if you have to do it, it's okay to melt down. It's okay to go in a closet somewhere and let loose, because there's a ton of pressure here right now. And there is uncertainty. And the one thing I can say most definitely, and this is definitely one of my favorite things to talk about, is that, while the future is uncertain, we can make the future less uncertain by planning for it. It may not happen exactly like that. We may be, we may be quite different, but to get settled and leveled off a little bit, looking at the future and what you want to make of it is really important, because otherwise you're just letting things happen to you, and nothing like that ever feels very good. So you have to be cognizant of what you want to have happen, and try and make that happen. Yeah, it may take a month or 2 months or 3 months longer, but we can all do that, and we can all take care of ourselves. And that's the most important thing, because if you don't take care of yourself, then you're no good for your employees, you're no good for your clients or anybody else.
Great. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Appreciate you.